Get it done. Peace and Black Power families, brother AGYEI from Harlem Liberation School, where we teach Black people to wake up, clean up, and stand up. We want to thank you for joining us, whether you're live or we'll thank you in advance for those who will watch the later recorded version. A few quick things, family. First of all, I look at the analytics of the channel and they show me that thousands of people come through every month, but a fraction of those thousands actually subscribe. So even though we've had a lot of subscribers this month, we know there's a whole lot of you watching that are not subscribing. So please help us to get more of this Black political education to our people. Please, if you have not already, press that subscribe button, like, share the video. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Spread the word about Harlem Liberation School. Secondly, family, a little bit of self-promotion. I have my sixth book, my latest book. It's called Wukusu, a self-empowerment handbook. It's really what it says it is, family. It's talking about how to overcome our fear. It's talking about how to manage our time better. It's talking about how to get rid of toxic thinking and replace it with positive food for our brain. Beautiful stuff. Go to Amazon.com, get your copy, Wukusu. You can type in my name as you see on the screen in Amazon or type the name Wukusu, Wucusu. Thank you. With that, family, we have a special guest. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our brother, and then we're going to spend the hour having him talk about himself and what he's done and things he's working on doing. We got our brother Knowledge Born Allah. He is an award-winning podcast founder, host, and CEO. Now he does a very important podcast through the YouTube channel, Do the Knowledge Radio. But he also has Do the Knowledge Empower You Youth Services, multimedia services, strategic planning services, booking services, and Do the Knowledge Speaks empowerment services. He's a strategic planner, a motivational speaker. He's a youth development specialist dealing with some of our at-risk youth. And he says that his mission and his passion is to give back to his community by providing wisdom and life experiences to help save the lives of those who often get looked past. That's very important. He's trying to help those who are lost to be found. That's very important work. He has his Do the Knowledge Radio YouTube channel, family, that has over 3,000. I'm gonna say that again, 3,000 episodes. That's if those of you who watch may not be content creators, but I can tell you that 3,000 videos is a lot, family. That's a lot of work this brother's putting in, and it's 3,000 videos or episodes and counting. And his podcast is a platform for other brothers and sisters to share what they know and express who they are. His wisdom, intelligence, and love for the Black community is invaluable. So, family, we're gonna have some of his links. You can follow him, stay abreast of the work he's doing. Without further delay, we're gonna bring on, and this is so good because he's usually the interviewer, family. He's usually one. We're gonna put him on a different side of the table today. Please, family, bring my brother Knowledge Born Allah is in the building. Peace, God.
Check, mic check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, peace and black power. Do we still say black power or
Oh, you know it. All day, every day.
yeah. They out here suffering. I don't know what's good, what they got going on. They might have got that wrong. But peace and
Yeah.
black power is
How you doing today, my brother?
I'm good. It's an honor to be here with you. Okay. It's an honor to be here
Yes,
with
sir.
you. It's an honor to be here on Harlem Liberation School. Okay. Wukusu to the family. I'm honored to be in the village. Okay. Everybody ain't welcome in the village. So it's always an honor and a privilege when your elder sees enough in you to invite you somewhere. I was doing an event, I was hosting an event in Atlanta, Georgia, a music festival. And the elder, when he saw me come in, Bobby, he was like, I know if you here, we good to go. And
Mm.
the end of the event was like a couple of days long. We did an event. He said, you did an amazing job. And I was talking, Baba. You know what I'm saying? I heard what my elder said to me, but I was talking while he was talking. You understand? And I was just, you're in event mode, so you think about everything else that's going on, blah, 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 security minded, all of these other things, right? And he said, wait a minute. Hold on a second, young brother. He said, look at me. I don't give compliments.
Mm.
I don't give compliments. I'm telling you that you did an excellent job. You did an amazing job. Stay with me for a moment. And my mind went from 4,000 miles per hour, Baba, to like 2 seconds. I was like, oh, I
Well,
heard
that elder was telling you the truth, good brother. Telling you
you
the truth.
saying.
I'm
So
really happy to have you here, brother Knowledge, because you're one of those people that we all associate with, man. I would like to be on Doodle Knowledge Radio. You know, his for those who don't know, his production, the quality of those videos, the music he got, the commercials he got leading on, it's really well put together, right? So now we got this brother on the other side of the equation. He's going to be responding to questions. And I think that's a good thing for people to see Brother Knowledge in a different light. Those who only know you from being the person that's hosting, and you always giving everybody else a platform to shine. And so we want to give you a platform to shine, good brother, so people know the work that you're doing. Let me start. First of all, family, you're going to see throughout the show, the broadcast rather, I'll have tickers going across the bottom. If you want to support our good brother, if you like what he's kicking, and I know you will, we have his Cash App scrolling on the bottom. We're also going to have a website where you can or actually the site, the link for his YouTube channel. If you want to go there, we definitely going to suggest you go there and subscribe while you're watching the show. While wait, right? Um, but we're going to start with this question, brother. First of all, anybody with the name Knowledge Born Allah has to be, those who know, would have to be a member of the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths. Very important organization in the Black community. Started in my backyard, Harlem World, by father-in-law, Clarence 13X. But Brother Knowledge, could you please tell us about the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths and how it has impacted or influenced your trajectory, your life?
excellent question. Well, I found the Nation of God's and Earth, the last 5%, along my journey, along the way, along the way in my path of development. And it taught me how to organize all of the things that I had learned previously to, how to put things into perspective, to use a critical lens, a mathematical lens, a scientific lens, a cultural lens, to put all of the other things that I learned before it into its proper place and proper perspective. So I went through that rites of passage from knowledge to Pluto. And from that space, I was able to receive this attribute or this righteous name. And I've been walking in that name ever since I received it. So, as far as influencing my life, it disciplined my thoughts and my ability to, for the most part, control my anger and
Mm.
to seek to uplift my fellow brother and sister in a way where I have another tool or language to communicate with them.
All right, my brother, that's what's up. And again, some of you may not know, I don't know what rock you've been sleeping under these last 50, 60 years, but some of our greatest hip hop artists If they are not members of the 5% Nation, they have been deeply influenced and impacted by the 5% Nation. Busta Rhymes, KRS-One, I believe. I mean, so the whole group, Poor Righteous Teachers. I mean, so many. Rakim Allah, considered to be one of the greatest to touch the mic. I've always admired the 5% Nation, Brother Naj, because they emphasized all the brothers I knew coming up in Harlem that were in the 5% Nation were readers. These were people who consumed information, and you could always strike up a very hearty conversation with a god or earth because they were always reading and consuming information. And so I always respected our brothers and sisters for that reason, right? Now, do the Knowledge Radio. When did you start this, Brother Knowledge? And I'm curious to know, what are the factors that influenced you even to get into being on YouTube and doing podcasts? What was your objective when you started it?
Well, initially, my perspective or motivation when it came to Do Nas Radio had nothing to do with being in the virtual space whatsoever. I didn't have the inclination to want to be on YouTube or anything like that. We were doing work in the community, like you know, Robert. We do outreach work, community work. So working with at-risk youth, working with so many minds out there, so many young black minds out there, inspiring the greatest parts of them. Brother and I were speaking, and he said to me, "You know, we're reaching some people, but there has to be a way for us to reach more people." And at the time, I was listening, unbeknownst to me, something I would walk into on Blog Talk Radio. I started off on Blog Talk, and I was listening to Baba Michael Imhotep of African History Network, Dynamic Brother, and Blue and Red Pill with KTL. So I would listen to them Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. So I would listen to them, and then I noticed over time that the shows they got less and less. So I would just listen to it from my phone. And I said if I could figure out that, then I could figure out how to reach, some of these other people. I didn't know it was the same platform. I had no idea. I went and did my research, and the first one that was palatable to me was Blog Talk. So I signed up for this Blog Talk account, and that was August 25th of 2015. Our first show aired on the weekend, August 29th, 2015. And I chose August because of Black August. It's a month of resistance. It's a month of discipline, study, renewal, all of those things. Also, August 29th is my youngest sister's birthday. So, in honor to my family, and Michael Jackson was born on August 29th. So, all of it just made sense in regards to the synchronicities that were there to start a place that was going to be a voice of the voiceless. That Earth song that Michael Jackson came out with, he asked a bunch of questions. And one of those questions was, what about Africa? Like he's propelling, like he's not singing, he's singing from the depths of his spirit and his soul. He said, what about Africa? Yeah. So in our liberation space, in the space where we're mindful of, what about our people here in America? What about our people in these places? Like, what about them? Who's mindful of them? Robert Steve Copley, peace and blessings be upon him. He said, ain't nobody on that ship, on watch called Africa. Why is the world in Africa and we have no inclination or connectivity to it? Why we don't have any connectivity to ourselves? So these were all questions. These were all research questions that were looming. So I said, okay, how do we take this and break this down to a sound bite where we can begin this process? Dr.
Mm,
Amos Wilson, in the book Blueprint for Black Power, Peace and Blessings Be Upon Him, asked the question of what is consciousness? So, episode 1 of Duke Knowledge Radio 9 years ago is what is consciousness.
mm,
So I had some folks who were there in the community that I have high regard and respect for. They assembled together and they sought to answer that question. But the first part of the show was dedicated to people calling in to promote themselves. One thing that I found that was very attractive to me going to social events and cultural events was people had an opportunity to come up and promote before everything got started. They got a chance to say, hey, I got that cable. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever it is, it was. You know what I'm saying? Like you were able to live oftentimes based off of that access to be able to go out. And you might have started off like that and then ended up a permanent vendor. And this is what you do for the rest of your life. So the the DVDs and the movies and the things that went out around the world, people were on there and they were saying what they do. And they were getting calls and they were able to feed their families, not being in the lecture circuit per se, just being participants.
mm.
And those things led to opportunities for them to be able to do that with their life. So what I saw in the physical space, I wanted to replicate in the virtual space. So very intentional about the space in regards to how it was going to be utilized. It was going to be utilized to celebrate and honor our ancestors, our elders, our peer group, and our youth. Very explicit about that. An ode to my family, my mother and my father, my mother and my father, my siblings, and those in my family. So, in ode to those unsung, you see what I'm saying? Back to the question, what about Africa? You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? You have a story, you have a tremendous journey, things that you sacrifice, things that you overcome, the resiliency, and your steadfast commitment towards our liberation. So I'm like, oh, I showed my son the video that you in the documentary. I said, I'm gonna interview him tomorrow. He's like, really? Wow. He said, wow to you and wow to me. It's twofold. You see what I'm saying? So when we do that, it begins to, oh, daddy know people that's on TV? Okay. Oh, who's this guy? I need to go do some research. You see that spark? One-to-one connection based off of that invitation. Based off of that invitation. So Duke Knowledge Radio has been dedicated to being a vanguard for the celebration and proper representation of Black voices from around the globe since its inception, from its inception to date, exclusively for our people. Nobody else. Nobody else qualifies. You can go someplace else and be anywhere else and do whatever else you want to do. But as far as for what's important to us,
You've done a mighty job
that's what
with
we're
it,
doing.
brother. Done a mighty job with it. And it's funny what you said about your son, because my daughter recently hit me. I was like, Dad, I have a friend of mine who's in this group. I think the group is called Black Men Build, based on what she said. And I looked it up. They doing some stuff around the country. Said they were watching. He called me to say I saw your father. He did this video called "We Need a United Front." So it's funny how that works, man. And you know what? It's a beautiful thing. That's touching when you talk about your kids. How your kids see you doing stuff for and in the community, and you introduce your children to other warriors and thinkers like yourself. That's very important. And we definitely salute you for that, good brother. And what I like about Brother Knowledge, to those watching, again, do the Knowledge Radio. I think I have it scrolling on the bottom, family. You can actually open up another window, go there, subscribe right now. You don't have to wait, then come right back. But you're gonna see he doesn't talk about himself. His whole platform is his guest is talking about what they're doing. The fun, I think I was on there one time, brother. We talking about raising money for the brother Daruba bin Wahad, and partially because of being on your program, I'm proud to say the Harlem Liberation School reached that goal. He got the $10,000, and people are still sending money to him. So it's one thing, people who their whole life is consumed with their issues and their concerns and what they got to do. But those of us who spend a lot of our lives helping other people and shining the light on other people, to me, that's really special. And that's why I wanted to make sure you were on here, because those of you watching, I was on a broadcast with brother Knowledge Born. I said, brother, I got this book coming out, man. Can I get on? And we did a nice good hour on it. Go check it out on his channel. And I was like, you know what, Knowledge? I need to have you on, because look, this brother has done his own. See, here's the thing. I'm gonna say it like this, then I'm gonna ask Brother Knowledge a question. We, Black people, Africans, new Africans, however you want to call it, are some of the most diverse people. When you see somebody on TV and you see them singing so well, assume that's just the talent that got them put on. Because when you see one of our people singing, chances are they could dance, chances are they can act. Really, when you see somebody in the movies, chances are they have 2, 3 other talents. That's the one that maybe they love the most and that got them put on. So what Brother Knowledge is right in that line, that continuum of being multi-dimensional. He does ebooks, family. He put me on to some. I said, what? Ebooks? Really? And they're beautiful, and they're informative, and they're actually kind of interactive, kind of have a multimedia component. Matter of fact, Brother Knowledge, could you show us? I'm gonna put up one of the ebooks. I'd like you to flip us through and just talk about it, and why you do the ebooks, and what's important and unique about the ebooks you do. Give me one. Did you? Okay, we're gonna put it up now, and maybe brother will walk us through it.
It's definitely the goal with these ebooks was something that was very simple but a little nuanced. As you know, you're a writer and author, a visionary, a thought leader. You see what I'm saying? And you do the work that you do. And I invited you on to speak on a few topics that I'm working on for my documentaries and for the books that I'm writing. Questions of identity, self-identity, identity in crisis. The books that are associated with the platform, Duminaz Radio, its story, and a various amount of other things that I'm working on. But in the midst of, you telling people you're writing a book, after a while, they don't want to hear it too much. Much more if they don't see some proof. You understand what I'm saying? And we come from the space where we show and prove. You see what I'm saying? You show and prove. You make knowledge more in no limited time. So the proof of concept was something with these ebooks. And shout out to my brother D Banks, man. My brother D Banks took my chicken scratch and he brought it to life. He gave it a life all of its own. So if the family in the village is looking at the screen, you'll be able to see this 5 ebook series that I came out with. 5 more books are currently being worked to have this 10 ebook series as proof of concept of the conceptualization that you can convey your thoughts and ideas in a cohesive manner and share it with the world. Whatever you do, whatever your talents or your gifts or your skills are, if you can talk about them, you can write about them. And my brother D Banks Designs, he did a tremendous job with bringing that thing that was in my head, the chicken scratch that was in my head and on the pages, into life. So this flip book format gives you the aesthetic of an actual book, like a physical book. And this is his artwork and graphic design here. He did all 5 of them. Tremendous brother. So if y'all need some design work for your ebooks to bring them from the scroll capacity where you just scrolling on your phone till your finger fall off, uh, he can bring those things to life for you. Tremendous brother. So we go through the
Brother
book. We
Naj, if
see,
you don't mind, could you flip through this? So people, this
yeah,
is like amazing. When you showed this to me, I was blown away.
right. So you
Look at that.
even hear the pages turning if you're listening to that. And uh, the process, it wasn't a long process, but I want y'all to hear the song that's playing. It's my brother, uh, Ambassador O, aka Omawali, aka Doc Maki of United Front.
In the 1300s,
And
very wealthy brother. During the dark age of
the
Europe,
goal
Europe was going through
was
a dark age.
to engage your mind and your creativity at the same time. So you see the imagery is there, you see the layout and all of that. So while you're flipping through, you're being inspired. So
Mm,
you're there. And this is
beautiful.
entrepreneurship, and that's one of the goals. So how to take a determined idea that exists in your mind and bring it into reality. So, these were designed to be short, quick reads, but a lot of resources for you to be able to do your own research. And at the end of the book, there's a video. Look, Brooklyn in the house. You understand what I'm saying? From my brother, General Steele, Smith and Wesson. When people love you, Baba, they show up for you. See what I'm saying?
That's right.
So he wanted to give me some money, Bobby. He was like, "Oh, how can I support your cause? I see you got this. Where can I send the money to?" I was like, "Your money is no good here." So
Mm,
when people love you and you extend the relationship, money can't be the precipice of why y'all together, because money comes
that's
and
right.
goes.
That's
So
right.
the love that my brother has for me and I have for him, I was like, if you just do a video telling people to support, I can keep that forever. The money will be gone in an instant. But your voice immortalizing this space. This, Baba, this was last year. This was 8 years. You see what I'm saying? When I was doing the build anniversary. Now we're going on to the born degree, the born anniversary right here. General still did this video, and now it's immortalized forever because it's in this book. It's not only on my YouTube or whatever the case may be, but it's in this book right here. You see what I'm saying? And again, if you hear the song, it's Roses. It's his song with Tech and Freeways on the song. Still got love here, even though the love is gone. So it's literally this digital platform, this physical platform is dedicated to celebrating our heroes and our sheroes. So all connected in the space to where you bring honor and credence to what came out of someone's mind into their reality. So that's book
Now,
one.
just in case this went over anybody's head, or you just tuning in, this brother has a series of ebooks. These are not like the old school ebooks. These joints are flipping. You can hear the page turn when you flip it. He has dynamic pictures. He has video and audio. These are really fully interactive. These are things when I was a teacher, when I started in 1997, brother, this is the type of material I was praying existed back then. We didn't have that type of material. But anyway, brother, show us what more you got.
All right, this is volume two. Volume two, the wisdom degree. So I'll say this real quick. What you think, what you apply, what you understand is what you live and what you give power to. What you know, what you apply, what you understand is what you live and what you give power to. So that's the first 5 volumes of the books right there. So what you know, that's the knowledge degree. What you apply, that's the wisdom degree. What you understand, that's the understanding degree. What you live, your culture, that's the culture degree. And then what you empower, what you give power to, that's the power degree, that's the fifth degree. So literally doing these things in the old. So in the space of a nation can rise no higher than this woman. When you teach a woman, you teach a nation. All of those adages, if they be true, this is a volume that's dedicated to the black woman, to the womb that gave us birth, where all life comes from. So the Voices Diaspora series, this is volume 2, 100 inspiring black women who changed history. So the young women, the young men, the young ones that are in our circles, we cannot have a future if we don't continue to positively reinforce the credence that's necessary and the honor that's owed and due to our mothers.
That's right.
Because our mothers give birth to everything that's in existence through the womb, through her womb. She bears the burden of gestation. We bear the burden of the gestation as a man in the mental. She deals with it in the mental, in the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual, all in one space of connectivity. She bears the burden so that they're light for us. She bears the
That's
brunt,
right.
so it's light for us. So we can think with clarity to be able to do the things that is necessary for what we give to her, she can multiply. So why don't we have womb reverence from that same place that gave us birth? There's a movie with Will Smith and his son Jaden Smith called After Earth. And this is 1,000 years after the earth says she no longer wants to be habitable for the people that once inhabited the earth. Through our own benign neglect and disrespect, we no longer honor the womb of the earth that gave us birth. So now we are forced to live in another place, and the inhabitants of that place know what we did to earth historically, so now they're fighting against us. So if we don't honor the wombs that gave us birth and life, there won't be any more life. So as to the womb of the earth, so as to the womb of the mind, so as to the womb of our mothers that give us birth and life. So this O, with this volume 2, exclusively there for the black woman. So just flip through really quick. You see some of this imagery. And the song that's playing is another Brooklynite in the house. You know, Killer Priest, my brother. I work very exclusively with our brother out of Brooklyn, out of Medina. You understand what I'm saying? This is his mother. She had made transition, so he dedicated an entire album called Mother to his mother, the mothership that gave him.
Your mother, I'm just calling, checking to see if you got on the safe side. Give me a call
That's her?
so I can my own worry.
Wow.
Love you. Bye.
So he saved that and he put that in the song, in the album. And so at the end of it, this is him and I discussing that album and, you know, sharing some of this. So you get that interview that's there, that's intimate, that's exclusive, of us going through the album, sharing stories and journey. So this is our space to give womb reverence for the womb that gave us birth and life and sustainability. So that's why
That's hot.
So now we get to your favorite part. These next 2 volumes, these are your favorite parts right here, okay? These are your favorite parts. I already know. I see you smiling in advance. I ain't looking at the screen what you doing, but I already know you smiling in advance, okay? So now we're about to get into volume 3, what you understand, okay? What you understand, volume 3, all right? You see the imagery. You already ready, Bobby. You ready? You already ready, all right? You understand what I'm saying? It's Voices of the Diaspora, Volume 3, Black Revolutionary Leaders from Africa to America. And our brother Bomani of United Front and Omawali is on this track with a love letter to revolution. So I'll play a little bit of it as I click through the volume.
Yeah. Peace, African. You let our family know what's really going on out here and what we need to do. That time is upon us. It's the time of decision.
Dear revolution, you eliminate confusion. And my ancestors said you might be the solution. Help us get free so we can build the institutions. Curry we lose and see the children reproducing. They looking up the rappers, drug dealers, and the crackers. Just like another brother, ain't no scrapping, they just clap him. This cracker want it all. He don't do too well with fractions. I subtract him from the planet when I hit him with the magnum. They wrote our history in stone, but did they ever fathom black?
And the last page,
Feeling that. Yeah.
no way that I could have Idi Amin, Dada, peace and blessings be upon him, in that volume and not have the video that my brother Bomani of United Front not feature his video in Uganda. You know, my God and my gun. So just a little bit.
Now, now going and showing this, I want other people to jump on here and let us know you're with us. Right now, my queen is the only person I see putting comments up. Come on, all these comments. Some of y'all are in the building. Let it be known that you're here. That's important. We feed over your energy. All right. I'm sorry, brother Knowledge. Please continue.
You good? You are good to go. I'm telling you, you are good to go. That's volume 3. Now we're gonna get into volume 4. What you know, in the space of understanding. Understanding is the best part. So what do we talked about womb reverence with volume 3. What are you giving birth to? Are you giving birth to those who are going to go along with the status quo? Or are you giving birth to those who are going to change the status quo? So the revolution, you eliminate confusion. And my ancestors said you might be the solution. It's what Bomani says at the beginning. So we could be nations or tribes of people that don't get along, Bible. You'd be like, yo, I'm from this tribe, I'm from this tribe. You'd be like, hey, I'm from New York, I'm from New Jersey, or I'm from Brooklyn, or you from Queens. Whatever the case may be, we could have something where we like, all right, well, I'm from here or there or whatever. Oh, where you at? Oh, I'm from East New York, or I'm from Flatbush, or I'm from Crown Heights. So you sit and say, oh, I'm from Bed-Stuy, blah, 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 right? These are all things where you could connect with that particular tribe in regards to identification. But revolution was something that brought us all together. When we went through the Ma'afa, we descendants of that Ma'afa, whether it was the Ma'afa here or the Ma'afa on the continent or the Ma'afa in the Caribbean, our language went from separate languages to languages of resistance. That's one language. Languages of rebellion. That's one language. So when we came out of the womb, we were giving birth to those who spoke the language of revolution. So that language, that birth language, that's the language from birth. So the imagery and the information that's associated with the next 2 volumes went from something that we spoke to something that we live. So, understanding is the best part. Understanding is to see things clearly for what they are and not for what they appear to be. So when Bomani said, dear revolution, you eliminate confusion. Peace is the absence of confusion. And peace comes after you eliminate all of the threats. So we're not confused about that. We're not operating in a space of disillusion where we can allow calamity, disrespect, and disregard for our elders, for our peer group, for our youth, and for our future generations, and think that we're going to be able to exist in a state of peace. That's confusion. So in order to bring about complete constructive change, we have to revolve. We have to revolve. We have to evolve. We have to eradicate and eliminate those degeneracies that exist amongst us in order to elevate, right? So this is Black Revolutionary Leaders from Africa to America, Volume 1.
For the knowledge.
3, pardon me. Go ahead.
For people who are watching this live or who will watch the recorded version of this broadcast later, who will be no doubt blown away by the beauty and the sophistication of these ebooks that you produce, how do they get copies of the ebook if they're interested?
Well, I think you had the Cash App going, and all they had to do is this 5-volume set is $36 for the month of Black August. You can get all 5 volumes for $36, and when you send the Cash App, $, Allah, you put your email in the description, and you'll get it in 12 seconds. It's like you got them, Baba. You see what I'm saying? You see the email, like, I ain't snaking and faking out here. I ain't showing you something that you're not going to get. You see what I'm saying? Instantaneously, after you send whatever it is, you get the email, and you can partake.
So $36 will get us all 5 of those ebooks, correct?
Correct. For the month of August. So you got a couple more days. You got, what they say, 3 days in the wake up or something like that. However it goes. After that, it'll be a different price. It ain't going to be too much more, but it's going to be, a different price. So definitely, I hold to, the 9-year, the born anniversary episode. I wanted to commiserate with the number 9, and 3 plus 6 is 9. 4 plus 5 is 9. 5 plus 4 is 9. So whatever the derivatives are, is still going to equal 9, because what I wanted to make born was this. You see what I'm saying? What I wanted to make born was this. So now we go to volume 4. If I could share that real quick. We got Voices of Diaspora, volume 4, Warriors of Freedom, Black Liberators Around the Globe. Right, so this is volume 4 right here. So you see the aesthetics, okay? It went from what we say to what we do, to how we live. So if you purport to be about the liberation of your people, the liberation of their minds, their hearts, and the ability for us to be able to sustain, maintain, and also to grow, then there has to be some evidence in how you live. What you say and what you do have to be congruent. That's wisdom. Wisdom is wise words and ways and actions. So you can be wise in speech, but you're supposed to be wise in actions. They're supposed to be congruent with one another. So you take that to a space of understanding, and after understanding, now there's evidence of how you live. What you say and what you do are supposed to be congruent. So now we here on this volume 4, and we're here. So we need something to invigorate that spirit of the Avenger. They jacked us, Bob, but they took the phraseology and said, the Avengers, and they got you looking at some buttermilk complexion monkey masquerading. Who are they avenging? Nobody ever asked who the Avengers were avenging. Who are they avenging? What are they avenging? Nobody asked none of that. You just happy to see it. You go mind map and take that beautiful black child, that beautiful African child to the movie theaters, and you sit in there and you don't educate them. You don't tell them that they are the Avengers. You don't, use that opportunity to be able to make that plain to them, so they don't know who to fight for and who to live for. So when they go to them death camps that they call schools, somebody's going to tell them who to fight against, which is going to be you, and who to fight for, which is going to be them. So this battle dress uniform that's here, that's in the appearance right here, this is volume 4. So I'm going to play this song from TYEHIMBA'S, featuring one of my elders, the Nasupati of Haninsu, Uncle Nu at the beginning. They think we dealing with coaches that are dead. Our coaches are alive and well. The culture bandits, as Baba Del Jones, peace and blessings be upon him, told us about, they're dead. We're alive. Okay, whether it's the ancestral life or this third dimension. So I'll play this real quick and then flip through the page. He's calling on that spirit of a real avenger.
I see Brother Khalid Abdul Muhammad up in there.
Definitely. You see
Yeah.
Baba Steve Coakley. You see
Yeah.
Shaka Zulu.
Mm-hmm.
You see Dr. Khalid. You see Fred Hampton Sr. Oh, don't this sound like you ready? You ready to go to battle? You understand?
Oh, yeah.
You live for, right? Baba Steve for a thinker. Baba Mukasa. That's where we think like power.
Dinga, rest in power. Yeah.
All praises due, I got everything I need. Do it, I'm told to make sure it comes with speed. Think it and say it and see it manifest. Work it and watch my ancestors do the rest. They say I'm eating the devil's food cake. Picture me worrying about what they say. Living their life scary and full of doubt. Put on my talismans and I ride out. Block plan, strategize.
I'm gonna give you this jewel. You may already know the jewel, but just in case you don't, I'm gonna strongly suggest that you become what's called a vendor in the Board of Educations around the country in different cities. There's a process you go through, you become a vendor, and after school programs that are the African-centered ones will be able to order these materials and use them in their classes with their after school curriculum and whatnot. But if you have, if you haven't done it already, think about that, because Board of Eds are all over the country, obviously. And that's our kids are in these after school programs. They have a lot of African-centered curriculums. And that's one way to get some of that right there in the trenches. Because you get it in the schools, brother, that's the trenches right there.
Right.
But that's hot, brother. That is hot. That's so hot, it almost made me forget the other questions I got for you, brother. How to do, man?
Yeah, that's volume 4. And, this is Tahir RBG, the greatest of all time. His video at the end. We got our flag. We just had another flag day. When you raise that flag, like when you raise that fist, when you raise that black fist, when you raise that red, black, and green flag, where's the evidence that it's in you? I can see it externally. I can look and see the flag, but I need the evidence. Again, back to your culture, back to the way you live, back to your life. So my flag fly high, Baba, like yours. You understand what I'm saying? So we got this.
Talk to him, Dr. Clark.
He called for the unity and the redemption of the
So you see this video. You see the young man right next to him.
They might not have been ready.
This is our future. You see our ancestors giving us the ancestral
job.
No.
Let's go. Yeah. Flag fly high. Flag fly high. Flag fly high. Black fist in the sky, break it side to side. If the flag fly high.
So that's volume 4, Bob. You're excited. I know you had to be excited. So
That's
you know what I'm saying? I can sense
the different modalities, the different senses. You hitting the different senses. Yeah, man, this is beautiful. Absolutely, this is a perfect material for people teaching, whether they're formal teachers or informal teachers in the community. And this is the type of stuff that will resonate with young people, especially. Yeah, that's hot, my brother.
So I'm gonna show volume 5.
In order to,
and this is the longer volume, for the scholasticians that are out there. Those other ones, they're short reads, about 19, 20 pages. I didn't want to be there for 1,000 days, Baba. I'm gonna save that for the physical books. Now the physical books that y'all see, that's gonna be some toil for your mind. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But these quick, easy to the point, that you just flow right through them and you go do your own research. We need more minds that are focused, that are critical thinkers, that are analyzers, that are decoders, that break things down. So After you talk about how you live, now how do you sustain what you build, or this revolutionary posture? So say the after effects hit and we eradicate all of our enemies, internal or external, foreign and domestic. How do you build now? What minds do you have actively working to be able to build something after you eradicate the things that no longer need to exist there? So
That's right.
this Voices of the Diaspora, again, what you live is what you give power to. So if you are a fool and you live like a fool, you think like a fool, you apply like a fool, you understand like a fool, you live like a fool, you're going to give empowerment to a fool. You're going to empower that foolish life that you live. So that's what you're going to give birth to. Those are the things that you're going to build. You're going to build foolishly. You see what I'm saying? So in the space of building and sustainability, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, in the spirit of the Honorable Marcus Messiah God, peace and blessings be upon him, that ode to STEAM, where our curriculum is. So the younger the better, the younger the mind, the best and the brightest in regards to what they can build from their mind. Back to that creative space with entrepreneurship, how to industrialize what comes from the mind. In that space of power, how are you utilizing the power of your mind? What are you using it to build? You can build with it or you can destroy with it, like Bob. So what are you destroying in the space of what you're building? So where's this African nation? Where's this new African nation, this Black nation, this Black world, this global African supremacy that we're speaking about in regards to sustainability? Can we go to a space that's undeveloped and develop it for our population? Can we create a sustainable reality to be married with the philosophy that we have and the willingness to be able to go do what's necessary? We cultivate that in the minds of our young people and those who are yet to come, so that they come out of that room with that revolutionary thought and idea and language that they can go begin to build. So volume 5 is dedicated to this, and it's about 50 pages. And there's an artist that I'm working with, phenomenal mastermind by the name of Zodiac, and this is him on this track and in the video at the end. So I'm gonna play the track while I go through the pages.
Read the pyramids. We must make an adjustment in our thinking. Once made, we achieve the fine-tuning necessary for the decoding process. Why are they exactly where they are and designed the way they are? Ask these questions and answers begin to flow.
Before word respond, the light and sunshine gave birth to the circle, and rays became lines that divided each hour, and days became time. Sacred geometry, mind detect mind. Symbols surround you, they're there all the time. Yo, wise the blind leading the blind, take nothing on face value. Spin it, cause what's behind is a message that's subliminal. Read between the signs. They say a symbol speaks 1,000 words, my thoughts speak 1,000,000 symbols. Brilliant mental to code the instrumental. That's where I got the lyrics, my flow is so influential. I chose to be exposed the unknown to its potential. The mind comprehends everything that it sees. But it's all the same symbols.
That's not Qasim Allah spitting, is it?
That you see from the
Qasim Allah?
No, that's Qasim Allah's Ayalite. This is Zodiac. He went by Khalid Scientific back in the day. He's
sound alike, yeah. Strong.
Yeah, strong.
Yeah, no doubt.
Unseen thoughts and eager bits of a dream that keeps repeating different ways in an infinite stream with rhythm between, flowing like a mystic ravine. The gleam of light becomes sound, sound becomes physical with material, the symbol below a kiss to my queens. I'm the ghost in the machine, the myth and the theme, patterns and shapes, formed in the magic of space. My emotions of the planets floating, flowing with grace and dance beautifully. The music you see and everything vibrates.
And the last one is, this is his video.
Zodiac.
Yeah, you gotta have the brother on over here.
Nice. This
So we're talking about engaging the mind and everything. You see what I'm saying? You see science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So you see it all together.
Yeah, and it shows that diversity we have.
Made a silver 3 placed in the womb. Big Dipper or reflected light raised in the spoon. Each one is 25, 4 sevens in my eye, 3/4 to be formed in the 75. The sum is 12. Man is a heavenly disguise. Zodiac web, 9 months developing inside the knife. The letter I is a dot in the line. Your noggin and your spine, your everything placed on top of the number line.
So think about the proper propaganda campaign. Nobody calls you the N-word. Nobody called you the B-word. Nobody's berating you. Nobody's disrespecting you. Imagine all of the elements that you want to hear in something cohesively. You're reading about yourself, you're being empowered. You're hearing about yourself, you're being empowered. You're not being denigrated and disrespected. So all of the avenues, whether it's the analytical side or the creative side, both of those hemispheres of the brain, both of those hemispheres of the mind, this is what that womb, that spark of divine intelligence, where that force, will, and creativity take place. So now your mind in that space can create the world and reality that's most fruitful for you. And it just took a couple of pages of your time. You can begin to have courageous conversations. If you don't have the information or the articulation to be able to begin this, these are tools. These are third-party tools that you can utilize to be able to have those discussions with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, with those in your immediate circle or your organizations, your political education spaces, your Saturday school, your Sunday school, your Monday school, your after school, your before school, whatever it is, to begin to utilize as points of discussion for our future generations. So,
right, that was beautiful presentation, good brother. Beautiful, man. I got a quick question. I'm gonna give you a fill in the blank. You remember you used to take them little tests? They had to fill in the blank. I'm gonna give you a fill in the blank, and you put in whatever you want. If black people blank, we will be liberated.
If black people chose to live, we will be liberated.
Chose to live?
Yes, chose to live.
Reminds me of that KRS-One song.
Chose life. KRS said, if I can't change the people around me, I'll change the people around me, right? So I was a youngin', Baba. I was a youngin'. And I should have shared that example when you asked how the 5% Nation, the Nation of God's Nerves, had influenced my life. I was a young knucklehead, right? Young punk out there in the streets. And I was soldiering, Baba. You see what I'm saying? I'm fatigued up and down, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? Out there soldiering. And, I said, I'm prepared to die for what I believe in, right? And one of the older gods, he saw me, Baba. He smiled at me. And he asked me a question that I'll never forget. He said, I see what you prepared to die for. What are you prepared to live for?
I see.
What are you prepared to live for? So if black people in this country or anywhere in the world where we populate chose life, and it sounded like it was simple, but it's complex. What you read, what you listen to, who you associate, what you put into your bodies, what you put into your mind, what you put into your essence, what you allow in your household, all of those things are indicators of whether you support life or death. All of them. All of them are indicators of whether you support life or death. So if we're life affirming people by nature, for us to do things that are contrary or anti life is a violation of the natural order of the universe, the first universal principle, which is self preservation. So if we chose life and not death, then we would do the things necessary as proof of life, as connection to life.
For the knowledge, that's a perfect segue to a question. Actually, this is an unscripted question I have. I know you God body. Could you explain for people the way they understand what we mean by when we say the 5%, the 10%, the 85%?
So definitely, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was a masterful psychologist in this regard. When he talked to the laborers at the time, they were called laborers. Now they have transitioned from laborers to believers, but there's some influx in between. If you wanted to deal with the psychology of our people, he saw us in a fallen state. He dealt with us from a holistic fashion. He dealt with us from the inside out. He dealt with us from our psychology. And when he looked at our psychology, he saw us cleaving unto and having an undying connection to our enemies. For our enemies' approval, we had our enemies' diet, we had our enemies' ways and actions. Again, I told you, if you think like a fool and you apply like a fool and you understand like a fool, you are going to live like a fool and empower a fool. So when he looked at us, Baba, he saw something divine. But in the mix of getting to that space or reclaiming that space of divinity, he had to eradicate the fearful nature and affinity towards an approval outside of self. In order to get to self, you have to fight through yourself. So the yourself, if I was to look at the body, the 85% who are the poison animal eaters is the vast majority of your body. The vast majority of your body that's there that is enslaved to its own appetites and desires. Your inability to be able to exhibit the discipline that is necessary inside of your mind creates the undisciplined space in your environment and in your body. Those somaticized cells that exist in your body that aren't real cells, they're cells that are there that operate with your gluttony and your vice and your connection to it. So an overwhelming majority of your body, if you use that term, 85%, the 85% go wherever the wind blows, right? So if there's 100 of us and we go left, if you go left, most people go left. You go right, most of the people go right. If you start running, they made a joke about that, Bobby. If you start running right now, folks is going to start running. They're not going to ask no questions. They're just going to run because you run. So 85% of the population, just like 85% of the body, is enslaved by its desire, creature of habit type of situation. And the 10% become the bloodsuckers of the poor. So the poor in mind, poor in heart, poor in spirit. So the 10% are what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad identified as the rich slave makers of the poor. In order for them to be in existence, they're parasitic. They have a parasitic type of hold in relationship to our calamity and our destruction. You could look at groups of people on the planet. You can see the entire population is contrary to Black people as the 10%. because the 10% see us in this fallen state, and they come in with the wigs and the weaves and the eyelashes and the bleach cream and the bad music and the bad food, and we just eat it up. We eat it all up. We eat it all up. We eat all of those things up. And our relationship with the parasite is the parasite needs us in order to survive and thrive, in order to be alive. And we think we need the parasite. The parasites that are in our body, the parasites that are in our body, we have a relationship with them somatically, so much so that we think that we are in need as the host body that empowers the toxins and the poisons and the parasites to feed off of us in order to survive, and not without separation or eradication from this parasite host relationship, to break that tie to be able to eradicate it. So that 10% serves as those bloodsuckers of the poor who are feeding on our community, even those from amongst us who are feeding on us in this fallen state, in the state of degeneracy. Now, the last one that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad recognized is he said, who are the 85, 10, and 5% on the poor part of planet Earth? That's a question. So that question had to have an answer. So that answer is the 5% or the poor righteous teachers who do not believe in the teachings of the 10%.
That's right.
Who are all wise to a living, know who the true living God is, and teach who the supreme being is. So now we're dealing with that space that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as a masterful psychologist, to be able to see our afflictions, the things that will stop us from being divine again. That 5%, right? There's a small percentage of the population. If you looked at your body, the immune system that you have in your body fights off the threats. So the small T system in your body, this 5%, has to contend with your whole body, plus the influence of the 10%. So the 85%, the overwhelming majority of your body, like the overwhelming majority of the population, who easily led in the heart in the wrong direction, but hard to be led in the right. Because over time, these things happen and they compound over time. Degeneracy in your body doesn't start from instantaneous. If they say you have cancerous cells, you got cancer in this place or that place, it didn't start yesterday. It started over a series and a period of time, and your allegiance to continuously feeding those cancerous cells in your body. So your defense mechanism, your defense system, your immune system, that 5% of the body has to contend with the 95% that's there to look to do it in, to overwhelm it in a space where it shuts down. So the 5%, the small segment of the population who knows the truth, has a duty and responsibility to fight against, to act as the immune system, to fight against the ills and the poisons and the toxins that exist within the body, that exist within the mind, that exist within.
That sounds like a hell of a challenge there, brother Knowledge.
But that's the functionality. You understand what I'm saying? That's the functionality. Otherwise, and I love that you said that, Baba, because I can speak to that really quickly. The difference between the 10% and 5% is only 5%, Baba. So what you seen in your lifetime and what you seen specifically is those who started off as 5% and was converted to 10%. So if you known them as 5%, you known them as that space that they, they got that adage probably said, if you can't beat them, join them.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones who service, they were sick of fighting, and it was like, it's just thankless, this doesn't mean anything. All they had to do was change a degree, 5% to be exact. If something changed from 90 degrees outside to 85 degrees, you wouldn't even notice that change. But if it changed from 90 degrees to 10 degrees outside, oh yeah, you'll notice that change. So you would know them as they were, not as they are. So the dissatisfaction from the treatment of the 5% is what converted them to make that change from a poor righteous teacher to a rich slave maker of the poor. How can I prove this? You have an immune system in your body, right? When that immune system is dissatisfied or out of whack, they have a term for that. They call it autoimmune deficiency. So your body's functionality is, and its sustainability and homeostasis is the job of this immune system in tandem with all of the other key systems working in functional order. But your immune system job is to eliminate threats. So if this Avenger can't distinguish, in the Nile Valley culture, they call Heru, there's a manifestation of him known as the blind Heru, where he can't establish friend from foe. So if your immune system's functionality is to protect your body from threats, and it sees your body as a threat and it begins to attack key systems in your body, you have an autoimmune deficiency syndrome. Your body begins to fight itself and fight against itself from the inside out. So this is how powerful dissatisfaction is. Somebody who was with you, Baba, they was rolling with you, they was a part of the Liberation School, and they was there. As soon as they become dissatisfied, all of a sudden, no matter what you said and did, they could turn against you that easy. They were like, yeah, I used to be with that old, Harlem Liberation School. You understand what I'm saying? Just that quickly, the difference between 5 and 10%. And if the people recognize them from Harlem Liberation School, that's the credibility that they need to rob them now. So they was like, oh yeah, he was real talk. I know him from the Liberation School. That's a good brother. Oh, I know her from the Liberation School. That's a good sister. Oh, what you got going on? Oh, how can I be involved? Blah, blah, blah. So now, easily led in the wrong direction, but hard to be led in the right. How does that happen? Oh, no, yo, Baba, that was your homeboy. Oh, that was your homegirl. That was your comrade. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I seen them with you. I thought they was with you, so they was good. It's like, I ain't seen that brother or sister in 2 years. I don't know what they doing. You understand what I'm saying? So you held subjected based off of those associations because they seen them. When they seen them, they saw them in the righteous space. And the dissatisfaction led them from that space where they were working righteously to a space of dishonor. So the 85, 10, and 5%. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad recognized this because he recognized it within himself. Then he recognized it within his own family dynamic with his siblings. And then he recognized it within his nation. So that ability to be able to deduce between who's there and our brother, the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, peace and blessings and retributionary greetings upon him, told us that there was 85, 10, and 5% in every organization.
Yes, sir.
Your ability to be able to discern in no limited time which one of these categories of those who labor amongst you becomes very, very critical. And it could save your life, your organization's life, and your future.
That's right and exact. He told me that directly when I asked him, all these people studied and trained and know about Malcolm and Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Garvey. Why do so many of them leave the movement and you wind they doing something completely different, talking out against me? He said, brother, he said, you round up the baddest Africans on the planet, the revolutionaries. He said, even in that group, There's a 5%. There's a 10%. There's an 85%. I'm like, wow, I see that. Makes perfect sense. Even in that group, there's people that's committed to the cause. They eat, sleep, drink that. That's who they are. It's part of their culture. And there's people they put it on and take it off like a coat. Right? And there's people who are in it to pimp and to exploit the community. So that's right and exact, definitely. Now, one last question, brother. We run out of time. Before we go, why do they call these 5%ers the poor righteous teachers? What's that about?
The poor righteous teachers. I explained the poor in mind and heart and spirit. When the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad found us, he talked about the state and condition in which he found us, but he didn't leave us there. He found us in that space, but he didn't leave us there. Knowledge is to look, listen, observe, and most of all, respect. So he looked, he listened, he observed, and he learned. And he respected the position that we're in. Dr. Joy DeGrew, I operate with her functional definition of respect. She said respect from her functional definition perspective means to look again. So if you told me to check something out, Baba, and I initially rejected, and I went and looked at it again, and I said, I see where Baba coming from. In order for me to repair the damage of what it was, I gotta go back to you like, yo, Baba, hey, I looked at it again, pardon me. That's respect. Respect meaning look, read, the prefix meaning again. So knowledge is to look, listen, observe, most of all, respect. And most of all. So if we have perspectives that differ, I respect your perspective. So when you start talking about poor, that's not poor, but we're talking about readily identifying the state of condition where you find the body in. If you hadn't eaten and you're in a space of starvation, you are malnourished, you are in a poor type of condition. So if you hadn't been physically fed, you were in a fallen state of condition. If you haven't been mentally fed, imagine that. Imagine that in that mental space, in that spiritual space, in that emotional space. If you find someone in a physical condition that is poor, all of these other conditions exist. But the precipice is the mental condition. So if you find them in the poor state mentally, you'll find them in all of these other states, even if they might look well in these other conditions. So poor is something that's an identifying factor. But on that path to becoming divine, there's righteousness that's there. You have to go through a period of righteousness. We have in the supreme alphabets, we have love, hell, and right. So love yourself enough to go through the hell of purification to come out right on the end. So if you're in a poor state when you start, you're not going to be in a poor state when you end. You're going to begin at a place. This is a place of beginning. You're not going to end there. By the time you go through that process of understanding who you are and your relationship to the universe, if you're poor, Baba, it's because you wanted to stay poor, not because you didn't have opportunities. Because I hear people, using my name in vain. It's like, knowledge ain't nothing if it ain't applied. Be quiet. Knowledge gives you the ability to do or not do. The application of knowledge, applied knowledge, is wisdom.
That's wisdom.
So don't tell me knowledge ain't nothing if you don't apply. If you don't know anything, you can't do anything. So once you know something, once you convert it from information, you can deal in the space of knowing. When you go through that process, there's a process. You don't just know something because somebody said something to you. You go do your research, your study, whatever the case may be. You take it through that spot of taking information or hearsay to knowledge. Then you arrive at knowledge. And then it's a process to go from knowledge to wisdom. So when folks just be throwing out stuff they heard somebody else say, they hear stuff, they be like, You know something that's a poor statement, Baba? All skin folk and kinfolk. That's one of the poorest things. That's one of the indicators, the strongest indicators of you poor in mind and heart and spirit.
Say that again, Brother Knowledge. I didn't hear the statement.
All skin folk and kinfolk. You know, we hear they be like, hey man, you know, all skin folk and kinfolk. Those folks who share your skin and your family members, those family members that are amongst you, they're your family. Whether they're in the fallen state or they're in the righteous state, they're your family. You understand? Like we don't have a connection to each other. We could just throw each other off like nothing. So if I see my brother out there wayward or my sister out there wayward, they ain't my sister no more because they wayward. They ain't my brother no more because they wayward. We grew up with crack, Baba. We grew up with crack. We grew up with crack and our family members being ravished by crack. Our family members breaking into our houses and stealing our stuff because they was crack afflicted. They weren't not our family members no more. We grew up with drunkards. We grew up with all kind of things, Baba. We learned how to handle them accordingly. We ain't leading up to a value if that cousin came around. I don't mean that ain't our cousin. We know our cousin is afflicted. You understand what I'm saying? And we got the alcoholic uncle. We hiding all of the alcohol when uncle come over.
That's right.
Okay, out of respect to uncle. He's still our uncle. He our drunk uncle though. You see what I'm saying? So if they in that state and we were looking to convert them from that poor state or that state to the state of righteousness, there's some work that has to be done. So poor, righteous teacher. Look at the last word. You started off poor in the state. You started off in the fallen state. But once you started walking on that path of righteousness, now you can teach somebody that was in a poor state and condition because you were there before. You know what it's like. So if you looked at one of them AA meetings or anything like that, everybody there in that AA meeting that's in those meetings been at day zero. Everybody was there. And everybody was there in a space that they become conscious of it, is they know that any single day of their life, something can happen where they can go back to day zero. And then they go from day zero to day one. So both of them been from day zero to day one. So day zero is poor. Day one is steps towards righteousness. So you got 12 steps you go through of righteousness, okay? And then you go from righteous to teacher. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. It's right there. It's right there. So that space of teacher, Bobby, you're an educator, you're a teacher. You work with all of our minds collectively, and you teach us through ways of questioning, through ways of analysis. If we say something to you, we got to prove it. And we got to prove it in no limited time because we ain't got a lot of time to hear a lot of foolishness. You understand what I'm saying? So that teacher has a relationship with the student where the student and the teacher produce the teaching together. So when Master Farad Muhammad, he spent 3.5 years teaching the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad privately. He taught him in that way. So when Allah came to Harlem, he taught the youth. He taught the youth in the spaces that the nation, when it initially started, was sparked, but no longer went after that demographic of people. So he took what was in the temples, no different than if you watched the 36 chambers of Shaolin, where the monk wanted to teach the general people how to defend themselves against a warring faction that was slaughtering them. What he learned, he couldn't teach it there. They was like, nah, you ain't teaching the general public. So he was able to leave and go out amongst the people as a lowly monk, right? He didn't have no rank or no status. He just was a regular monk and he was out there teaching the people. So when Allah left the temple, when he left temple number 7 and he went out into the streets, he was able to do those things and reach that demographic and reinvigorate the spark in regards to going from that poor state that you find them in to give them steps to be amongst the righteous and then teacher. So 4 to 5% of poor part of planet Earth. This is why this was a lost 5%. This is why they have this nation of God's nerves, because there are nation building qualities that come along with it. So, folks get hung up on the terminology, but knowledge is to look, listen, observe, and most of all, respect. So if that's their perspective, they say we're this or they say we're that. Oh, I can see that and I can see that. I'm good. I'm dealing with the best part. I'm not dealing with the poor part. Right? So back to the poor part again.
That's what's up. Listen, we want to thank our good brother, Knowledge Born Allah, for dropping them jewels like the God body is known to do. Peace to the guys, the earths. We want to thank all of you who have come and watched and participated in this live experience. To watch the recorded version, family, is fine. There's something about being present when it's happening that's very powerful, I think. So we want to thank all of you for coming out. We encourage you to watch this again when you have time, the recorded version. You might see something you missed. If you want to support our brother with that $36 to send to his Cash app, please do that. You may have to watch the video again and see that ticker. Don't be lazy, family. Because when we were smoking cigarettes, we did everything we could. When I smoked cigarettes, I remember walking 20 blocks to get the cigarettes that they sold for me. 20 blocks because they were exotic. So we need to be that way for good, righteous stuff. Right? We need to be that way. Oh, man, I didn't see it. Don't stop there. Go back and look at the video. Look at the ticker. And make sure that you support this good brother. We talk about the people that we don't like and everything wrong with these people. Let's put our mindset in the direction of focusing on the people that we believe are wholesome, that are bringing truth, beauty, and justice to our people. Right? And so, Naj, I want to salute you, give you your flowers while you're here, because usually you on the other side, you're the host. So I want to tell you, brother, you are showing our youth and our community what I like to point out when I see people on TV that are black. That, you're just seeing one ray of their light. That person you're looking at probably does 8 different things and does them well. And you are one of them. So a lot of people thought, oh, he's just a host. He just puts people on interviews. Like, no, he does that, but he also does motivational speaking. He's an author, right? He's a visionary. He's a Pan-African. He's a nationalist. He's fighting for nationhood and sovereignty and self-government for black people. He does many things. So when you see a brother or sister and you don't want to get in beef with him and you want to have truth, beauty, and justice come out of him, you know what you do? When you see them, say to yourself, I'm looking at God. I'm looking at God right there. I'm looking at the element of God. And maybe we'll find that our tone will be different. Maybe we find that we will listen more. Maybe we find that we'll support what people are doing more because we say we believe in God. So when you see the next black man and woman, that's God. Oh, I'm going to listen. Would you be talking over God? If God put a documentary out, would you not look at it? Would you not buy it? You would support it. So when you see the black man and woman and they're doing all right, look at the representation, the manifestation physically of God. And I think we'd be a lot different people. Brother Born, Brother Naj, any last words before we sign off?
It's an honor to be here. Tomorrow is my 9-year anniversary, the born anniversary of Do Naj Radio. We'll be on at the God Hour at 7 p.m. We have some excellent guests and things. We're going to be in the celebratory space. Honest to you, honest to the Queen. This was invigorating. This was motivating. This was celebratory. I love it. It's one of the greatest sparks to be able to use as a catalyst to go forward. So I'm thankful to be invited into the village, and hopefully I can come back. And, my doors is always open to you, Bobby. You already know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, with that said, family, I want to thank you all again for coming out. Please, family. Wukusu, a self-empowerment handbook. It's my 6th book. This is teaching our people how to be better and do better and think better. Because as Asada said, we can't just beat up on the white man all day and what they've done in the system. That as we do that, we have to be better. And if you love your people and want to serve your people, you want to be the best servant you can be. So go to Amazon, cop that book with Kusu, type my name up, you see all the books, and please support and also support our brother Knowledge Born Allah. With that said, family, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to Knowledge Born Allah's channel, Do the Knowledge Radio. If we support each other, brothers and sisters, you'll be surprised what we can do when we work together and we believe in each other. That said, with Kusu, peace and black power.